What shall we talk about?
So, what is compassion?
What is compassion? Anything else?
We might speak about the difference between understanding something intellectually and understanding something really in its all.
Understanding something intellectually, but understanding much deeper.
Yeah.
What is that? Anything else?
I'd like to ask you what the meaning of handicap.
What's that?
Handicap.
Handicap.
Children who are born into the world handicapped.
Or you talk about children who are handicapped, or most grown-up people who are handicapped intellectually.
I thought the first speaker had asked you to talk about passion. I was a bit disappointed to hear it was compassion.
It's compassion, yes. Let's begin, shall we, with what is it to understand, not merely intellectually, verbally, but something much more deeply. Shall we begin with that? What do you mean by that? When we say we understand something, do we merely mean verbally we understand the meaning of the words? The words which have a common meaning between us, when we use certain words like compassion, we know the meaning of that word. That means passion for everything. Now, at what level do we understand compassion? Intellectually? Or one feels compassionate for the handicapped, for the people who go to war, for the people who are throwing bombs, for the politicians who are creating wars or supporting wars. When we use that word compassion, is it merely a verbal communication, or we really feel very deeply great sense of sympathy, a great sense of communication, affection, love? Do we feel that? Or merely accept superficial words like compassion? Yes, we should be very compassionate, and then forget about it. So would you discuss this? What do we mean by compassion? And is it possible to be compassionate under all circumstances? Not to your family only, to the animals, to nature, to other human beings, to be having deep affection for another. Have we such affection? Would you kindly, have we deep, not self-centered affection, you know the difference? We'll go into it a little bit. Do you love anybody? Don't say yes quickly. Do you love your parents? They might scold you. They might tell you what to do. You mustn't do this, you must not do that. Influence you. Perhaps occasionally, I hope not, beat you. Do you have this sense of love for another, for your parents, for another? Do I love somebody that way? Or I feel affectionate for my parents, or to some affectionate with somebody. But if there is something, if I'm denied something, if my friend, my family, my parents deny, scold, control, do I reject them? Or do I tolerate them? Or do I put up with it? Say, well, they are much older than me. It's all right, I'll tolerate as long as I can. But when I reach a certain age, I'm going to skip it. Tell me, please discuss it. So, when we use the word affection, love, pity, generosity, kindliness, is that part of love? Or all that exists when there is love? Are you interested in this?
Yes.
Don't be, if you're not interested, we'll go to something else. Are you really deeply interested in this, to have such deep, affectionate communication with another? Probably not when we are very young, or when we are fairly not too young. We have this sense of sensitivity for another, don't we? Or is that too? To be sensitive. You know what that means? Of course you all do. Sensitive. Are you sensitive to the nature around us, the sunset, to the clouds in the evening, or a dark, misty, rainy morning? Are you sensitive to all that? Are you aware of the beauty of this morning? Lovely morning, long shadows, after days of darkness and rain and wind, a lovely morning like this, clear, soft air. Are you aware of all that? And the leaves turning russet, yellow, red. Have you seen all that down there? Isn't that part of affection? Isn't that part of love? See all those yellow leaves, red leaves on the lawn. They shed and wait for the spring to come another 6 months later. Are you aware of all this? Or We are too much concerned with ourselves. Because we all have problems of some kind or other. And all through life, we carry on with problems, right? Either is the problem of hunger. I hope you will never have that. But you lived in Asia and India, you would know it. Unless you belong to some rich, well-to-do family, you know what it is to be hungry. And when you have problems, whether intellectual or scientific, any kind of problem, can they be loved? Not problems, then affection, problems, then affection. You follow me? If there is this constant struggle with problems, can there be affection? Can there be love? Or love has no relationship whatever with problems. And can one live in this world which is so terrible? Can one live in this world without any problem? Without becoming stupid or careless or indifferent? Can one live without any problems? Would you discuss this? Would you find out or ask or investigate whether it's possible to live without a single problem? Would you inquire into it? Would it interest you? Does it mean anything to you? That question. Whether one can live a really vital, strong, clear life with great affection and all the rest of it, and have no problem. Or when problems arise, resolve them immediately and not carry them on day after day.
Yeah, but I think, for myself, and I think for other people, they are very scared to say something. They're very scared to say something. They're very afraid to say something.
But that's their problem.
No.
Can I have a relationship with another and not create a problem out of that?
Well, I know that it's our problem, but I just wanted to say that I think people are interested, but they're just too afraid. It's not a matter of no interest, it's a matter that
they're afraid not to have problems?
No, to say something in this discussion.
In this discussion. What he's saying is, we don't discuss because we may be nervous, frightened. Because a lot of people, strangers, and we don't want to expose ourselves too much. So we keep quiet and nervous. all right, if you don't want to discuss, which we shall do perhaps next Tuesday when the students all meet together with then perhaps we can discuss. But would you kindly follow the investigation or the exploration whether it is possible to live a life in this world, not some kind of fantasy or imagination or some kind of daydreaming, romantic, but living here in this world to have no problem. Would you like to inquire into it?
Yes.
Yes.
You know what the world is like, don't you? There is threat of war and gathering of armament and war heroes killing others. That's one side of this terrible thing that's going on. You're aware of it, obviously. And nobody is able to stop it. Not a particular kind of war, but war. You know? To organized killing, organized murder, in the name of nationality, in the name of God, in the name of peace, in the name of whatever it is, for a principle, and so on. You're aware of that, aren't you? And you're also aware the technological world, aren't you? What it's doing, computers, you know all that, which are taking over man's work probably. They are building cars in Japan and other countries with robots, and the robots are controlled by computers. And so perhaps it may affect our brains gradually. That's not. And socially, morally, everywhere there's conflict, right? Struggling, fighting, ambitious, greedy, right? And so on. That's the world we live in. And we are asking a question whether each one of us can live in this world, in this environment, where we have to earn a job, earn a livelihood. Perhaps we should marry, children, sex, money, status, position. You understand? That's the world we have to live in. And living in that world, can we have no problems of any kind? Go into it, sir. Let's talk about it. Let us look at the map, as it were, of this very complex problem. Problems exist, don't they? I'm not talking problems of mathematics or technical problems. They can be resolved, right? They can be gone into, taken trouble, and so on. But I'm talking of problems arising in relationship with my wife, with my parents, with my neighbor, with the world around me. And in that relationship, I'm asking myself, I'm asking you, whether we can live without a single conflict. Problem means conflict, right? The meaning of that word problem is, according to some dictionary, is something thrown at you. Problem is that, a challenge, a thing which you haven't resolved, and it comes up, springs up, and you have to meet it. That is a problem. The meaning of that word. Right, sirs? Huh? That's the meaning of the word. Agree? That's what the dictionary says. Something thrown at you, which is a challenge. Right? So can we, living here, meet problems and resolve them, not carry on day after day, day after day. Some people do, year after year. Oh, you understand? They have resolved it. So gradually, the brain and their strength is worn out by problems. Unresolved. It's like carrying a tremendous burden on your shoulders all your life. Right? Now, is it possible to put away all this burden? Which doesn't mean, which means that you meet a problem and resolve it immediately. Right? Is this clear? Huh? That is, in our relationship with others, whether it's very, very close relationship or not, in that relationship, problems arise. Problems will arise as long as there is no love in that relationship, right? This is difficult. Let's go step by step. In my relationship with my wife, with my parents, with my neighbor, the neighbor may be next door or 10,000 miles away. He's still my neighbor, right? In that relationship with humanity, with other human beings, can I live without a single problem in that relationship? You understand? Good. You understood the question? Clear?
Yeah.
Now you ask yourself that question.
Yeah.
Put it to yourself and find out. Don't say it's impossible or it is possible, but move it. So I will go into it. I'm married. I have father, mother, sisters, brothers, uncles and aunts and nieces, nephews, the whole crowd of family. Each one of us wanting to do something for himself, right? Each one of us says, I must do what I want to do. Right? Are you right? Each one of them. And I too say, I must do what I want to do. So, if each one of us says, I must do what I want to do, is there a relationship?
No, there's conflict.
Obviously. Right? Now, Is that, when you say it's obvious, is that an intellectual or verbal clarity or real saying, yes, that is so? You understand my question? You raised that question. Intellectual understanding and understanding in depth. Now here's a problem. The whole world, that is, every human being in the world practically says, I must do what I want to do. And you are doing the same, right? And there are those psychologists, apart from Dr. Schoenberg and a few of us, who said, do what you want to do. Don't restrain. Don't control. Express yourself. Whether it is sex, whether it is anger, whether it is hitting somebody, do it. Get rid of these inhibitions so that you can have perfect peace. There are gurus, teachers like this who say, go ahead, old boy, do what you want to do. At the end of it, we shall all we love each other. You understand? Now proceed. If each one of us wants what he wants, and express it, what do you create in that relationship? My wife says I must have, I don't know, God knows what. Not refrigerator, not a dishwasher, but my wife says, don't be so damn stupid, be worldly. Have more money, cars, enjoy yourself, drink. And I say, please, I don't want to do all that kind of stuff. So, you understand? There's conflict between us. So, where each one of us says, I must express myself, do what I want to do, there's going to be conflict in relationship, right? So what will you do? If you understand that in relationship where each one of us expresses his own desires, and it may be opposite desires, then what will you do? That creates problems in our life. Right, sirs? Agreed? That is the whole structure of society, you understand? From the top hierarchy of religious leaders down to the most ordinary political leader. Right? Say, my country is first. My ideal is first. Right? So each one of us is doing this. And we have created a world by doing this which is constantly in conflict. Right? This is so. I'm not saying something extravagant, not true. The world is in conflict, perpetually. So I have to establish a relationship between myself and the world, right? The world is me because I'm also in conflict. I don't know if you see that. I don't separate myself from the world which is in conflict because I also have this constant battle in myself, with my family, with my boss, with my government. You follow? So what shall I do? Go on, sir. See what you are involved in. This is your future. We are going. We older people, we are going, but you are coming. This is the future you have in front of you. You may be highly educated, have a very good job, and so on. But this is there, in the cellar.
But if you don't feel something for other people, what will you do?
What?
But if you don't feel something for other people...
No, I'm not talking about other people. I'm talking having conflict within oneself. You have conflict, I have conflict, right? Suppose you have... So what... We live with conflict, in conflict with each other, right? That's what we are concerned, not what others are in conflict.
No, but you said conflicts create because everybody's thinking about himself.
That's all.
Yeah, but if I only think about myself and I don't have feelings for other people and I have only feelings for myself.
So that's the problem. I am thinking about myself. How I'm dressed, I'm thinking. See, I want more money, I want more pleasure, I want better position, I want this, it's this constant battle going on, right? It may not be wanting more physical things, but it may be, I must be better. I must achieve something. I must be ambitious, right? So that's what we're talking about. As long as I am self-centered, right, I must have conflict. Now, this self-centeredness is isolation, isn't it? If I am, all right, I'll explain. If I am self-centered, and you are self-centered, as we are separate, aren't we? We are working in isolation, right? Now, take, Britain says British, right? Have you heard recently on the television? Conservative Party, the Labour Party, all the politicians, the trade union leaders, British. French, right? Indians, Muslim, Arab, Jew, and so on. So they're all isolating themselves, aren't they? As I'm isolating myself when I'm self-centered. My wife is self-centered. I am self-centered. My country is isolated, self-centered, right? Are you following all this? Or are you asleep? So, where there is self-centered isolation, there must be conflict. And problems are inevitable, right? This is a law, whether you like it or not, this is a law. Like a law in England that says keep to the left when you drive. You can't avoid this. You can't say, I'll dodge it. It's a law that as long as you are self-centered, as you are self-centered when you say I'm British, as I'm Indian, as I'm Muslim, Jew, Arab, all those horrible things, I must create conflict for others and for myself. Economically, socially, everywhere. Right?
But you think if somebody stops to to be self-centered, to think
No,
about himself?
no, not somebody. Let's find out.
Well, you think if I would stop thinking only about myself, I would start loving other people.
I don't say that. Not to be self-centered is one of the most complicated things. Don't just say, I won't be self-centered. It's impossible. Such a statement has no meaning. Say, for instance, I'm not self-centered when I say I love God. Right? God is more important than me. Right? All the saints, the nuns, the monks, Jesus or Krishna or somebody, I've identified myself with that, and I think I'm free from self-centeredness. You see the game I've played? I identify myself with a large country like England or France or India, and I'm not self-centered because India is me. I wonder if you understand all this. Do you understand this?
I'm not sure.
Now, how should I explain that?
Do you mean that you just like expand the boundaries, but it's still isolation?
What?
Do you mean that it's like it's just making the boundaries bigger, but it's
Yeah,
still isolation?
seriously. I've identified myself as a Catholic. You know, that is, I love Jesus, He's the only Savior, Virgin Mary, and so on, all the rituals, all the circus that goes on. I am all that. I've forgotten myself. You understand? Do you understand that?
Yeah.
I'm all that. So I'm not self-centered.
You are, then.
No, just look at it. I have said I'm all that. But in saying that, I've identified myself with that, but the self-centeredness is transformed, but it's still self-centeredness, right? Get it? So, I identify myself with a country. England is far greater than me, which is true. So, see what I do? I play tricks with myself.
Just the fact of identifying yourself with anything.
Anything, that's it. Identify myself with God, with a church, with all that, or with a country, as a politician, and so on, so on, so on. It is still a subtle form of my self-centeredness, right? Do you see this? Hmm?
If you would identify yourself with all people, it would be great then.
With all people.
Yeah.
Do you want to
With
identify?
humanity.
Do you want to identify yourself with all people?
Well,
No,
with human being,
Huh?
just with all humans.
All right, with all human beings. That means what? I'm all humanity, right?
Yeah, kind of.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yes, which means what? All humanity is me, I'm still self-centered.
Yeah, but then you're concerned with all people, so that you love all people because.
Oh, do you? If I say I'm all humanity, I'm all the world, and because I say it, I love all people, do you?
I'm not talking about myself. I'm just talking.
I'm all right. You're talking generally
about a possibility.
about a possibility of identifying myself with humanity helped me to love humanity. Is that it? You know, all these things have been said and done. The monks, the do-gooders, the social workers, and all the rest of them have all said, love humanity. All right. So, do you understand this clearly? As long as there is self-centered activity, it's a form of isolation. Whether it's isolation in the form of a country, a race, a belief, it is an isolation, right? In that isolation, there is no relationship. I might sleep with my wife, I might have children, and I might do all kinds of things, but I'm still self-centered. And if I am, I shall have problems. Right? Why? You say yes, but why? Why do I have problems if I'm self-centered? On the contrary, isn't it? If I'm completely self-centered, I'm only thinking about myself. I'm asking why do human beings who are so tremendously self-centered, most 99.5 human beings, or 85, whatever, are self-centered, why do we have such problems if I'm self-centered? Go on.
Because everybody's concerned with their own,
Yes.
own ideals and their
Yes.
own.
Yes. But why do you have problems then?
Because there's also conflict within yourself.
Huh?
There's also conflict within yourself. Even if
Conflict?
you're isolated.
No, if I'm isolated in a prison, and say, close myself, you're not watching it in yourself. Look at yourself. If I'm self-centered, what takes place?
I have no feelings for other people.
I have no feeling for other people. Go into a little
You
more.
feel secure because you don't have to leave. You think you are alone, and so you don't have to relate to people and to anything. So you feel secure.
Now, just me. What does it mean to be self-centered? First, let's be clear on that. What does it mean? Come on. What does it mean, Professor?
You're only concerned with your own needs.
Huh? No, I say, what does it mean? What are the implications of being self-centered?
All the activities and thoughts are centered around the person.
Yes? Move from there, move. Explore a little more. Good for your brain. Go on. I'm self-centered. What are the feelings of being self-centered?
We're looking for pleasure.
Huh?
We're looking for pleasure.
Yes, go on, something else.
You are closed.
Huh?
You have no contact with anything.
Yes, that's right, go on. I don't think about others. I have no contact with others. I have no actual relationship with others.
It's
Go on.
safer.
You want
Huh?
others.
It's safer.
Huh?
It's supposedly safer.
I think it is safer.
And you want others to be like you.
You want to be, yes, let's carry on. Others like you. Do you? I'm self-centered and I'm only concerned with myself, as most of us are. Occasionally we break out of that. When there is a war, a great crisis, we are not self-centered, are we? Country. Patriotism. That is, what? We have given our responsibility to life over to others, right? Do you see that? Huh? I'm told, they tell me what to do, so much simpler. Yeah? So, self-centeredness has this feeling of being closed in. And there's the fear of opening up, right? A fear of getting hurt. Wanting more, you follow this whole, it's such a small, limited area I live in, right? Now, if that is clear, we can go into much more, but it's somewhat clear. Doesn't it inevitably create problems? Suppose I'm married. My wife is self-centered and I am self-centered. I'm thinking about myself and she's thinking about herself. Her pleasures, her ambitions, her wanting this and wanting that, not physical things, other kind of demands, and also I'm doing the same, right? So when both of us are like that, there is no relationship, is there? Huh?
No, there's no communication.
Huh?
There's no communication.
That's it. There's no communication. So what happens? There must be conflict inevitably, right? So where there is self-centeredness, then it must breed, it must encourage conflict. I have completely identified with Jesus and all that business, and I want to convert you to my belief. Because the more of people there are of my belief, I'm safer. Right? So I'm out to convert others, etc., etc. You've seen all this. Whether it is communism, whether it is religious dogmatism, whether it's a recent guru, it's the same phenomena, you understand? So, have you discovered this for yourself, or am I telling you? In talking over together, as we are doing now, you see the truth of insight, that's so. And not fall back into back again. You understand what I'm saying? We have talked together about this somewhat. Is it merely a verbal communication between us? Would you kindly? That is, intellectually you understand this. But deep inside, see, well, I'm still a German, damn it. I'm still a Catholic. I'm still wanting my way. Therefore, it is not understanding or perceiving the truth of it in depth. Or have you seen it in depth? Or just casual? This is a casual conversation between us. This was the question you raised at the beginning of this. What is intellectual understanding? Right?
I think intellectual understanding is if you think it's alright, but you don't change it.
It doesn't do anything. Now, if you understand this, you cease to be identified with any group. Right? with any community, with any guru, with any religion. You're finished with all that. Then you think in terms, in global terms. That is in the global, you understand what I'm saying? Not being a Dutch or German or English. From there, I think of the world. But having no anchorage as British, French, and so on, then the world becomes extraordinarily vital. I wonder if you understand what I'm saying.
I understand, but I just still understand it only intellectual. I mean, I'm still
So, but
thinking about
so we went, that's it. If I merely understand intellectually, it's like reading a book which tells you all about this, and you're still an Indian at the end of it. What's the point of it? Then what's the point of communication? What's the point of discussion? What's the point of exploration to all these problems? At the end of it, you say, yes, I'm still attached to my country, to my ideals, to my way of thinking. I must have, you follow? It's a waste of time, isn't it? So we're inquiring into this question having no problems, and therefore, in relationship with Will and with my friends, with my wife, if there are no problems, then perhaps there can be great affection. Love for another. How can I love you if I have problems, if my mind is crowded with problems? You understand? So isn't it important to find out if you can live without problems?
You have been saying, sir, that we are the source of our problems.
Yes, sir.
But that's not the way we generally think of it. We generally think that our
Problems
conflicts-
come to us.
Right, our conflict or our loneliness or all those things are imposed on us from the outside.
Aren't you getting warm? All right. If one really understands this one thing at depth, that as long as I am self-centered, thinking about myself most of my life, I am going to create problems for myself and for others. As long as I say I'm British, I'm going to create war. Right? Now, will you stop being British?
I mean, apart that I'm a British.
I've got a passport as an Indian. Passport is not, it's paper. It doesn't make me Indian. I'm not an Indian. I'm just a human being, not labeled as Indian, as a religion, as belonging to a certain particular religion or particular country, or identified with a particular belief and ideology. I'm a human being. Why do I need all the rest of it? Is it because I'm insecure? because I'm alone. I don't belong to any group, any country, any ideas. I'm alone. I'm frightened, therefore I must belong to something. This is what you're all going to face, if you're not already facing it. So can we be clear in our minds and heart so that mere human beings who have a great sense of affection, that's all. Is that possible? Huh? Isn't that part of our education to learn, understand this?
I think it's possible, but it just seems really very far away.
That's it. Why does it seem very far away?
Because I live with problems. I live in a cycle of problems and conflict. So
I know.
It's difficult to live without any, and we just live with.
You don't say, well, I'm going to see whether this problem can end.
Oh yes, I do.
Huh?
Yes, I do.
Then what? Another problem arises. So you keep that going all the rest of your life?
Well, I don't want to.
Take a simple problem, not simple problem, it's quite a complex problem. Take a problem like getting hurt, right? Huh? You know what it means getting hurt? Don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why did it take so long?
Because it was a long time ago.
Huh? All human beings from childhood on get hurt, don't they? Parents scold you, teachers scold you, education, follow? Somebody's telling you what to do, what not to do. And you want to do something yourself. So somebody hurts you, right? Are you aware of your hurts? If you are aware of your hurt, are you going to carry it along for the rest of your life? Adding to that hurt more and more and more.
Not if you're fully aware of it.
Huh?
If you're fully aware of how you're being hurt.
I can't hear.
If you're fully aware of how you're being hurt.
And if you are fully aware, don't make a condition of it. Do you know the consequences of being, what is the result of being hurt? I'm hurt because my father says something, I'm hurt. My friend says something, and so on, so on. I'm hurt. And you know what? The consequence of that hurt is I'm afraid of getting more hurt, right? So I build a wall around myself. I must not be hurt. Which means I'm not sensitive because I've already built my. And the more I build a thicker wall, the more isolated I become. And in that isolation, I become neurotic, peculiar. So that's some of the consequences. So can I totally eliminate all being hurt altogether? Not by building a wall around myself, but to have no never to be hurt. Aren't you interested in it? Are you? Will you do what I'm telling you? Or rather, I'm sorry, I withdraw that. Will you look at what I'm telling you? That is, I am hurt because I have an image about myself. Right? I'm a great man. I've talked to so many people in my life. I've traveled, books have been published, I'm a great man. You come along and tell me, don't be silly. You're rather stupid. Then I react, right? And so who are you to tell me? But I'm really hurt. And somebody comes along and says, but you, what a marvelous person you are. Flatters me. It is the same, right? Being hurt and being flattered are the same thing. So I'm hurt because, go on, tell me why.
Because you have an idea about yourself.
That means what?
It means that you think that you are a certain way when someone tells you you're not.
Yeah, but
then it hurts.
what does that mean?
You're
It
fooling
means
yourself.
your image
Huh?
is being shattered.
You're fooling yourself.
Huh?
You're cheating yourself.
I'm fooling myself.
Yeah.
Why do I fool myself?
Because you don't want to face what
Huh?
it is. You don't want to face reality.
Look, I've said, look, I have traveled, all the rest of it, which means what?
You're insecure.
Huh?
You're insecure.
No, lady, I'm insecure anyhow, but that's not the point for the moment. I'm saying, I'm asking, why, when I say I'm a great, all that silly stuff, have I not created an image about myself? Huh? Right? So, I have an image about myself. And you come along, put a pin into it, and I get hurt. Right? This is a fact, isn't it? You have an image about yourself, haven't you, all of you? Huh? Now you are afraid. Now you keep quiet. So as long as you have an image, I'm going to hurt you. If you say I'm a great man, or I'm trying to be better. I am this, but one day I shall be a really great man. So as long as I have an image about myself, one of the results of that image is I'm going to be hurt. Right? Now, can you live without an image about yourself? Can you? Go on, sis.
Yes, by just
Huh?
observing what you are in the moment.
Observe what you are in the moment. All right, I have observed, I have an image.
No, because the moment afterwards you make an image. It's another moment, so if you just always look,
No,
you don't have any time to
I may throw away one image, but I create another image.
No.
I'm just, look, have you an image about, I'm not talking about you, have you got an image about yourself? Of course, don't be shy about it. You all have images about ourselves. I'm beautiful, I'm clever, I am noble, I am better than you, I am this, I am that, and you have all images. Now, if I say if I've built an image about myself that I'm a noble man, you come along and say to insult me, I get hurt. So I'm asking, can you live in this world without an image? Knowing as one of the results of having an image is getting hurt. There are other factors in it. One is enough. As long as you have an image about yourself, you're going to get hurt. That's a law, like keeping to the left on the road. But if you're on abroad, you keep to the right.
Even if you're so secure of yourself, that you're really so certain that the image is right.
When you're so secure about yourself, say, whatever I do is right.
No, not whatever I do, but whatever I think about myself is right.
Yes, that's it. Whatever I think about myself is right. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Can anybody say that?
That's just another image. Saying that whatever I think about myself is right. It's just
I mean, what a statement to make. Huh? Can you? I'm not saying you're wrong. All right. If I say, whatever I think is right, then
No,
what?
what I think about myself.
Yes,
What I
whatever
think
I think about myself is right. I think about myself that I'm hypocrite. That's right. Right? I am think about myself as believing Jesus. That's so. I think about it. So can you go on that way? Think whatever you think about yourself is right. It may satisfy you. It may say, by Joe, I'm safe. But is that so? That leads, doesn't it? If I say to myself, whatever I think about myself is right, that leads me to complete self-satisfaction. I'm already an old man dead. No? So, let's come back to our original question, which is, are we understanding all this merely verbally, which is intellectual, or it is so, and it's part, a depth have captured it, and from there I move. I hear you say, as long as you belong to any country, to any group, to any idea, you're going to bound to create war of some kind, right? I heard you say that to me. I understand it intellectually. See, let's go. But I also see the truth of it. You understand the fact of it, the depth of it. So I see it so clearly that I'm no longer an Indian.
So just in looking at it, you were doing it kind of.
Yes, it is so. As long as I'm a Sikh, which are a particular racial group, belong to some sect in India, probably you've heard about it, as long as I'm a Sikh, not Sikh, Sikh, I'm going to fight everybody else, which is what's happening in India, right? They want their independence, they've got their leaders, they've got their political boss and so on. It's another racket. So when I see that, I say, for God's sake, how stupid. I won't belong to that. Don't you? Huh? Or you still carry on for the rest of your life. That means you are You are willing to kill another. I'm putting it brutally. You are willing to create war. As long as I'm an Arab, I'm going to fight the Jew. You understand? That's what's happening. So as long as I'm self-centered, concerned about myself, I'm going to create conflict for myself and for others. And if you want to live in conflict, that's perfectly all right. But be aware of it.
Isn't there a difference between self-concerned about having concerns about yourself and being self-centered?
Self-concerned.
Yeah, the difference between self-concerned and self-centered. I think there's
Self-concerned and self-centered.
Yes.
Now wait a minute. I'm concerned about myself. How I look, how I talk, what my ambitions are, what my fears are. I'm concerned about that.
Yeah.
And what's the difference being self-centered and that? The self-centered man also is concerned about his job, of his look, what he follow. He's also concerned. Are you saying to investigate, to understand this whole business of why one is self-centered, to understand it, not to change it, not to alter it, not to move away, not to run away, is that self-centeredness?
I think it's a self-concern.
No, I want to understand. I want to change, but I want to see why it is like that. That's not self-concern, surely. You know, sirs and ladies, this is one of the most difficult things, not to be self-centered. It requires a great deal of inquiry, awareness of what you're doing. Not,
yes, of what you are doing.
Yes, I'm aware.
Of what's going on in yourself.
That's
so
right.
it's a concern about yourself.
No, that's not concern. I watch my thinking. Why I get angry, that's not self-concern. Why I'm afraid. Right? I'm exploring. I said, why do I say I belong to one country? Why? That's not self-concern. I don't like, I hate somebody. Forgive me. Suppose I hate somebody. I wonder why I hate. That's not self-concern. I'm inquiring into the whole problem of hate. But if I say, well, I mustn't hate, I must be better than that, and so on, I'm still self-concerned, right? But if I say, why do human beings, like myself, hate? Why does hate exist in the world? That's not self-concern. You follow? Right, you better stop, it's not past one. Right? Finished? May we get up?